Let's return to talking boxing. Spencer Oliver is in studio, and I'm delighted to say again 3 becomes 4 because we're joined by the former IBF featherweight world champion, Josh Warrington. Josh, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, Josh. How you doing, mate?
Josh,
hello, Spencer. You okay?
Good to speak to you, mate. The rematch in October, Leigh Wood got his way over you, scored a sensational come from behind 7th round TKO against you. And the rematch is on, is it? Can you confirm to us it's going to be taking place sooner than later this year?
Well, I know there's been a few things being put out on social media, but I'm yet to go through contracts and stuff like that, so I can't officially say that it's on yet. But you know, these things seem to be circulating more and more, and you know, normally when Eddie's getting further with coming to announce something, then it's getting here. But I still got to sit down and finalise a few things with the contracts before we're going any further.
I mean, what is the proposed date, Josh? Is it May the 18th or something at the Forest Ground? Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah, that's what's being put out there, and that's what I believe the date is. I'm hearing that they only have that date for the show to go ahead at the city ground. So you know, any sooner or later can't happen. So that's what we're looking towards.
I mean, Josh, let's talk about the last fight that you both had, the last performance against Leigh Wood. You lost 7th round KO, but I mean, a fight that you was dominating, if I'm totally honest. You got caught with one shot, and as you know, at that sort of level, things change massively. But you must have been gutted, mate, because you seem to tactically have that one nailed on.
Yeah, just very frustrated, Spencer. Very frustrated. I mean, you know, I was in the studio about 3 weeks prior with Jim and Simon, and you know, I was very confident, very confident, and you know, we even had a bit of a laugh and a joke with Simon because he was touting towards Leigh, but I was confident that this were just going to go my way. We had his game plan nailed down, and once the first couple of rounds and a bit of excitement had left my system, sticking to the game plan, and you know, I found the fight easier than anticipated up until that 7th round. And I think it all starts when I'm deducted the point, and I keep on banging on about this, but I feel that I would have unfairly deducted a point, and that kind of changes the way I go about the rest of that round.
I mean, what do you do differently in the return? Yeah, what do you do differently?
I mean, time, is it, Josh?
Look, you, like I say, tactically you had it. You seem to have it nailed on. You was growing into the fight. You was building up a good lead going in there. But we know with Leigh Wood, we saw it against Michael Conlon actually when he come from behind in that one as well, and knocked Conlon out in that last round. You know, he grits and he goes and he doesn't get what's the word I'm looking for? He doesn't get disheartened. Yeah, when things are going against him. So what do you do differently?
Yeah, I mean, he has got massive. He's got massive heart and massive cojones. You know, he does keep on coming. I will give him that. But yeah, just not presenting with that opportunity. And hopefully, you know, the officials can maybe be a little bit more clear of the punches and stuff. And for myself, I'd probably look towards, you know, I'd him hurt a few times and I'll let him get away with it. And this time round, if they're in a similar situation, then I wouldn't take a step back. I'd put it on him.
Let me turn to the man to my right here in studio, Josh. You tipped Leigh Wood, as Josh reminded us there.
I did.
Last time. Would you be quick to do it again? Or would you think, by the sounds of what Josh is saying?
No, not so quick. I think that Josh was outstanding in the fight. I think he absolutely bossed the fight, schooled to some extent, which is an expression that gets often trotted out. But I think in this instance, if you looked at the fight and you didn't know who was the world champion, you would say it was Josh Warrington. Yeah. Clearly, because Josh Warrington has been a world champion, so you can have that conversation anyway. I was just surprised that Josh got caught. Yeah. I know that Josh is explaining the way that he perhaps was distracted by the nature of what the referee did in that round, which took him into a different direction. When you look at it, Josh, I thought it was a brilliant performance, and obviously, you know, you've got knocked out quite brutally at the end. Psychologically, now you're on the back of 2 losses, right?
Yeah.
Do you look at it? I mean, you were very confident when you came in the studio. You talked about the idea of you've worked him out. You know what he is. And that's not going to change. What is going to change is Leigh Wood now knows that you can do to him what you did to him for the first 6 rounds. right?
Yep.
And he's going to be prepared for that. You come off the back of 2 losses. Now,
Yep.
where are you mentally? And you're not going to say you're weak because you're not that kind of character. But when someone gets cleaned out the way you did in the 7th round, it will have a debilitating effect.
Yes, I can understand what you're saying, Simon. But it wasn't one punch that put me down. It were
A combination of
5 clean. Yeah, a combination of them. I was up. This is where a little bit controversial as well. So end of the round, I've gone back to the corner. Instinctively. Now, turned around on 8. People argue that I didn't turn around soon enough. But we've seen in other situations where people have turned around on 9 and been allowed to continue. I felt like it would have been well enough to continue and probably go on to.
Were you surprised? Were you surprised by his power? I mean, ultimately, you couldn't have been surprised by anything else because you utterly dominated the fight. I watched the fight, on a number of occasions. Looked back and I thought you were outstanding. But we're in the business of outcomes, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, were you surprised by his power? Did you price that into your thinking?
No, not his power. Because I said prior that he's probably got a dig, and I said after that I don't feel that he was the strongest puncher that I've been in with. I believe Kiko Martinez is the strongest I've been in with. And then it's probably borderline with Lara. What he does have is, like I say, he's got big heart and big nads, but it's his timing. It's his timing, and that shot there, what sets up the shot that buzzes me before he lands them 4 or 5 clean ones after. He times the shot very well. I go to throw right up to his body. I read the 10-second clacker. I got for right up to his body. As I turn into it, I dropped my left hand. He timed the shot perfectly. I've half gone into it with my own momentum, and it's the timing that I'm on the end of his punch, buzzes me, and then from there he lands the clean shots. But
do you take something because you go into that fight, Leigh, 1 winning 4, right? And you lose that fight. Do you take Josh? Sorry, you take a lot. You take a lot from. Do you take a lot from that fight, despite the fact you've lost it?
Yes, that's he's still there in terms of my boxing ability, and all those who write me off prior to it, saying that I'm going to get schooled and Leigh's this, that, and over, and his unbelievable angles and his speed, and he's got his strength, but a lot of the stuff since the fight, Leigh's been saying, "Oh yeah, we're prepared for that, we worked on that," which is a load of rubbish. If you ask me,
I think on the flip side, you must take a lot of confidence from that, Josh.
That's my point.
Going into that, like coming out of that fight because of the way that you performed in those first 6 rounds. I think that it's what you've got to do, but also ultimately you can't afford to get caught because he's got the power to end things.
Anybody at this level, Spence, has the power. Like I say, it's his timing as well. But listen, there were moments in that fight when I was moving around the ring and thinking, right, Leigh, have a jab, bang. Right, Leigh, have a jab, bang. Right, going to do this, going to do that. And it was a lot easier than I expected it to be. Obviously, the lapse in concentration, that 7th round, is ultimately what cost me. If anything, going forward, I'd have to make sure that, if anything like that happened, referee penalises me, that I have to stay switched on and not let me head wondering.
Josh, finally for me, how would you feel about getting into enemy territory, the city ground, to take on Leigh Wood?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Listen, I'm doing these big shows. I've done 2 stadium fights in the past. Obviously, they've been at home. But I love it. Prior to him getting knocked out by Michelle Lara, we had gone down to the city ground, and I'd been there at stood pitch side with Leigh, and I got a load of stick off his fans, and it gives you a different kind of buzz. When I first started coming through, a lot of my fights were away from home, and don't get me wrong, when I fight at Leeds and I've got them mad crazy support behind me, I absolutely love it. But it gives a different kind of energy when I'm going into opponent's backyard.
Good man, Josh. You're a favourite of ours. Many thanks for joining us this lunchtime.
As always, thank you guys for having me, and Happy New Year and all that jazz.
Thanks so much, mate. Josh Warrington with us live on talkSPORT.